Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is 2013 and this is the first episode of the year of Caster Challenges, and today I am joined by a very special guest, a staple of the esports community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only EGiNcontroL.
Well, hey, thanks for having me, man. Love the show. Saw that you did it with Total Biscuit and said I have to do that myself as well.
That is excellent to hear. And you said you've seen the show with Total Biscuit. How much do you know about the show? Have you been doing any secret preparation for this?
Well, actually, I kind of fancy myself a fairly good impromptu guy, which is, I figure, to be the style of the show. So I hope to not disappoint in that regard. But as far as doing research or practicing, I'm an off the cuff, kind of on the fly guy.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And there's not really much to ask you, but basically, seeing as we are just waiting for one of the players to get back, I will ask you. I usually do this at the end, but I'll ask you at the beginning as well. If people don't know you, and that would be foolish if they didn't, where can they find more of you? Tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm a StarCraft 2 guy. Start off as a professional gamer exclusively for StarCraft 2, and then eventually moved on to be more of a jack of all trades, host, commentator, all that kind of stuff. So the bottom line is look into StarCraft 2. And my dog didn't like that. Anyways, look into StarCraft 2 and you will see me. I'm on Twitter, EGiNcontroL. I'm going to do some YouTube stuff, all that kind of jazz. But the bottom line is Evil Geniuses, my team. I'm the captain of them, and I just kind of do everything I can for them.
Okay, and do you know how this is going to go down today? And have we conversed before? Have we done any practice?
No, there's no practice, and I do know that what I'm doing is commentating this game, but then you give me challenges, and I'm assuming right away I have to change into whatever the hell the challenge is.
That is exactly right. Basically, what I'm going to do is you're going to start off casting in a normal style, and when I want to give you a challenge, I will say stop, and I will give you your challenge, and the second I've given you your challenge, you will continue in the challenge I have given you.
Sounds good to me, man.
Alright, so I've asked the players if they are ready, and if they are ready, we will be getting into this game.
It's worth noting, too, that I think this is the kind of thing that would be benefited by having some kind of performance-enhancing drugs like alcohol or perhaps Monster, or something that would make you feel different. But I can report that right now I am completely sober of all those things. I just have a pitcher of water next to me, so...
I have heard rumours that this show, definitely alcohol is a definite benefit to it, and energy drinks as well.
I think that would be a pretty natural relationship, yeah.
Alright, sounds good. So, the countdown has begun, so I will send it over to you, begin casting in your normal style, and I will come in when I'm ready to give you your first challenge.
Sounds good. So, to cut the silence a little bit and pretend we are commentating something real here, we have Simba going up against Famut. Am I saying that right? How the hell do you Redcoats say that? Is that...
it is Famut.
Famut, right?
Yes.
It's like British for waffles or something like that, I'm sure. Anyway, Simba's the guy that beat Bling at WCS UK, actually, which was a pretty surprising result. But we're going to have a TVZ here on Antigua Shipyard, kind of the classic Terran battleground. They used to take both Zergs and Protoss alike to this map and then try to throw them on the mat and destroy them. And just the split positions, pretty regular stuff. Let's go ahead and introduce the players. Lower left-hand side, the blue Zerg. From the UK, if I'm not mistaken, it's Famut. And in the top right-hand side, his opponent, TLR Simba, Terran player of note. And kind of just things you look for out of these players. I mean, it's interesting to talk about them. Like I said, Simba had a little bit of a blip on the radar, but since then I haven't heard anything from him. And I don't say that as a slight. I say that more as like a, where did you go, Simba? I mean, if you have the talent to beat Bling in a TVP on a big stage like WCS, a tournament that in no way, shape, or form did Bling go into it and say, oh, I don't really care about that. It was absolutely important to him. How does that not translate into more results? That's my question for Simba. So I'm very interested to see how this game pans out because we've heard and seen his TVP, but I personally haven't seen his TVZ. And in the UK, they have Zerg problems actually with Dictamini and also Dignitas' recent recruit, Johnny Rico. Both those guys are, I would say...
Okay, stop. Between now and the 3-minute mark, you must subtly fit all EG sponsors into your cast.
Well, I mean, this is going to be a game of intel. You have to be really careful to find out where that goes, because Simba, like I said, he is a monster of a player. He's a fantastic Terran player. And, I mean, on the flip side, if you're going to be working hard... Oh, my God. You can't have split reason about it, you know what I mean? You got to be pretty clear in your pathing and in the way you go about this if you're going to be the Kingston of the match. And if you're not the Kingston of the match, well, then... you're something quite a bit less than that. Actually, it's super freaking hard to remember your sponsors while you're commentating. What the hell is this?
Okay, time is up on that one.
Damn it!
Stop. I know that one is really hard.
I can't. I've never forgot our sponsors, but at that moment in time, I was like, wait a second.
Just suddenly draw a blank. Okay, so the next one. Cast in your best British accent.
Oh my god. Alright. Well, alright, my disclaimer is that oftentimes this ends up being Scottish, Australian, and everything else, so I do apologize to everyone I offend. Alright then, so the Red Terran, Simba here, he's got a whole bunch of, yes, fucking Australian, he's gonna go for the factory here, right, and with that factory, presumably, he can produce anything from Hellions to tech all the way up to Starport, and with the Starport, of course, it's Banshees, it's Medevacs, it's battle cruisers, it's everything your heart desires. And then Famut, of course, down here you can see the Overlord overlooking everything and sees a beautiful little red Simba's SCV does exit his base, the premise, if you will. And it should return to mid-map, where it presumably can reign law over the tower and watch over everything in its domain, if you will. Now,
okay, stop. You may not separate your teeth while talking.
What? What does that even mean?
You must keep your teeth together at all times. You must speak through gritted teeth.
Okay. Oh, through gritted teeth. You can't separate them. Okay, I was going to say. Well, Red Turret going for the one rack... No, not one rack to spend... Well, kinda. He did go factory before the command center. And he's going to get that starport, but without a tech lab going down, I'm kind of curious as to what the starport could be doing. Maybe elevate Hellions into their base. Zerg player is still gasless. It's not that weird. The weird part is that he's not... Oh, there it is. The faster third hatch. And I feel like I'm talking in kind of a southern accent. That kind of says a lot about talking through your teeth. And Zerg player is still gasless. That's fine. But we are playing a HOTS match worth noting. So where does Zerg go from here? A lot of that new stuff kind of happens at the lair and hive tech. And there's the gases at roughly 46 supplies. He's going to go for 3 out of the 4 gases.
Okay, stop. You are now bipolar. You are both caster and co-caster.
Oh, nice. Alright, so with 3 out of the 4 gases, then of course we're going to look for where that tech's going to take the Zerg player. And there's the double Evo chambers, and I do believe it'll be double upgrades. Yeah, right, you are in control, actually, with the double upgrades. It should be melee. Typically you don't see range and armor upgrades, although Snoot and Stefano have been known to show that kind of a thing. Well, actually, you know, it's funny you bring that out of control, because actually I feel like I've seen double range upgrades become a little bit more popular in Heart of the Swarm because of that Hydralisk upgrade that does happen at the Lair Tech, and of course it makes them a little bit more viable, but also Stefano has made it pretty well known that you can do that. But, you know, I hate to interrupt you, Control, with that great analysis, but right now actually we have 4 Queens and a couple of Zerglings doing battle, a lot of drones being
evacuated. Okay, stop. You must fit in as many innuendos as possible.
Man, it's getting hot and toasty in that mineral line, but look at those Queens waving those arms and flapping it up and down. Doing a good job of getting wet and wild with those Marines and those Hellions. But the Hellions, they don't really care. They're just going to dive in there, get as deep as they can in that mineral line, and really go for just the punishing, strong blow, just the thrust of their power. And you can kind of see that taking effect there. One Queen is wounded, but don't let that deter you. She's used to getting hurt just a little bit. She kind of likes it even. And a lot of people like to watch that. People that are against Zerg players love to watch, you know, Queens get hurt. It's just kind of a weird thing that happens. Back at the Terran base, of course, we can see a lot of SCVs drilling and mining the crap out of those minerals. And notice the shape of the minerals, too. It's worth noting that they kind of jut upward, and they're hard as a diamond. And
stop.
Again, you got to drill them. Yep.
In your German porn voice.
Anything?
Anything. Just German porn voice.
Oh. Yeah, so the Terran player, after a very successful we could call it harass, I suppose, of the Zerg's base. It finds itself in a quite comfortable position, obviously, sitting back macroing, but no bunkers. You'll notice there's no bunkers at all, and normally that's quite bad, actually, but here we find it very good, because again, with the harass, he's not too worried about aggression. And so Zerg play on the flip side here, the upgrades still going, and it is actually range and armor upgrades, so EGiNcontroL earlier, he was not too far off the mark. Still 3 out of the 4 gases, but of course it's not just 4 now, it's 6. And we do see that roach one. So again, with the range upgrade, very likely that we'll see more roaches and hydras. And the Terran player on the other side, getting an armory, double factory. This does suggest mech. And mech is quite exciting, even for us as Germans, who of course don't really have any feelings.
Okay, stop. You must attempt to woo Idra while playing. No, not while playing, while casting.
Pretend Idra, I assume, not the Idra.
Yes, pretend Idra.
Okay. You know, I mean, this Zerg player, he did a good job holding off the harass. If you look at the drones lost, it's only 17. I feel like most Zergs would lose that much, but you know, really good Zergs, like the best in the entire plan. Of course, my teammate Evil Genius is Idra. He would lose more like 4 or 5 drones. Actually, as I say that, I kind of find myself cringing because the fact that I would even suggest that he'd lose any drones, to be honest with you, is a little bit silly. He'd instantly pull the drones off there with his stunningly beautiful 500 APM. But then again, his map vision wouldn't even allow for the APM to really be a factor, because he'd see it just before it came out. And then again, as I say that, I kind of find myself tripping over my own words, because it's really his star sense that we have to talk about. It wouldn't even get to the point where an Overlord would have to see what was coming out across the map. He'd just feel it happening a good 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes before it actually did happen, and he'd already set in motion a plan to stop that from actually ever having happened. So it's hard to explain it to people that don't know him, because to you guys it seems like a dream. It seems like he's, you know, the one from the Matrix or something like that, but for me it's just kind of a reality. I get to document that excellence on a regular basis. So just through the sheer mental power of his brain, you could feel the difference in his play and everybody else's, virtually everybody else's.
Okay, stop. Every word you say must start with the letter T. If it doesn't start with the letter T, you must somehow make it start with the letter T.
Shit. The Troches, Tar, defending the Tellians. Terribly tenacious, those Troches. This time, the Viking times this to salt. To hydras. I've never felt so dumb in my entire life, man.
Okay, I will stop you on that one. Alright, you cannot use any unit or building names. You must describe them in a way that if you don't know the names.
This is right up my alley. So we got a pulsating snot booger in the middle of the map that is right next to, of course, those yellow diamonds, and it looks like the bottom-feeding fish are quite happy to be bringing in little chunks of those diamonds inside that snot booger. And then, of course, next to that is what appears to be the collective military of this bug alien guy. And it looks like he's got... How would I best describe those? They kind of look like warriors from Warhammer, warrior aliens. And this is a really important moment right now. He's got the Eye of Sauron flying over this Space Marine base, and it doesn't get a whole lot of useful information. It does see that it looks like the guy's opting to make more kind of a mechanized army as opposed to biological. And in the middle of the map we can see a big engagement about to happen here. And if you look at that production tab, the Zerg player is about to make some scorpions.
Okay, stop. In the voice of Deckard Cain.
The Terran player has pushed into the center of the map. It's up to us to watch the Zerg player get its ass completely handed to it. But before we see this, the Vipers are sucking green boogers from all of the evolution chambers. And I believe they'll have a spell for us. But will it happen in time? Zerg player is down to just 3 actual bases. And the Terran player is pushing forward on the known. And it looks like we might actually see a battle between all of our champions. Here come the Vipers.
Okay, stop. Cast as if you really want to go play League of Legends right now.
Aw, man. I just got my Mountain Dew case next to me, and I was on Xbox Live earlier, ganking some bastards and bitches, and I told them all, man, I have to cast this StarCraft 2 match, but after that, I get to play League of Legends. And it looks like this Terran player is straight ganking a fool, all up and down in this bizach. But the Zerg player still has what appears to be... I mean, they kind of look like heroes. And I heard that they have the spell of... What's that fat guy with the meat cleaver that I think might be in Dota 2? And at this point in time, I'm showing my knowledge of LoL. But I'm sure there's somebody that does that as well in LoL. Anyways.
Okay,
I can't really touch my keyboard. Okay, go ahead.
In the style of a phone sex operator.
Alright. The Zerg player's moving up the left side. And here it comes. Terran player doesn't seem to like all that green goo all over it. Wow. And this Zerg player is super strong. But not that strong, because the Terran player absolutely shat all over him. And do you like it when I get shat all over? If you do, press 9 now. And for just 17 easy payments of $22.22, you can take a big-ass dump all over me as well. Terran player is taking a 4th base, and that's great. It's
Okay,
really
stop. I am going to... That was brilliant, by the way. I'm going to mute the in-game sounds. You must now provide the sound effects for the entertainment of the audience.
Okay. Hellions, over here. The tank has ran away from us. What do we do? Spine crawlers are all like, meow, 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 meow. And the roaches go... Vikings passing by the Vipers here completely innocently. But you can hear the flutter of the wings of the Vipers. It sounds like a little butterfly next to your face taking small farts on your head. And it's quite serene and calm, but then the tanks come in and they're shooting and the Hellions are going... Where are the tanks? I want them to shoot because it sounds so awesome. But they're not doing anything. You just hear the flutter of the Vipers. They go... Imagine if a Pomeranian had wings. That's what a Viper sounds like. Just a little angel just kind of fluttering by. And here come the tanks. And it shoots, and it goes... Here's what a tank sounds like. Wait for it. Wait for it. Something's going to walk in range, I promise you. It just says, get the fuck out. Boom. You're dead. Fuck you. Boom. And then the Hellions are...
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Deckard Cain while all letters start with the letter T. All words start with the letter T.
Oh my god. To roaches terrorizing tanks towards Turton 2. The Terran to player. Team's fine. Fine. And the Zerg player to player has plots of bases. That one's hard as shit, man.
Alright, stop on that one then. You are in love...
I feel like I failed that one pretty hard.
It was good, man. Right, you are deeply in love with both players, but can't decide which one you prefer.
I mean, Famut is doing such a good job of moving back. Like, his micro has been so absolutely stunningly beautiful. But on the flip side, like, Simba, in relation to that micro, has managed it like an absolute sweetheart. Like, I can't imagine someone doing a less adorable job than a more adorable job than Simba. Simba's been just gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous with the army move. But I mean, as I say that, I see Famut, and I'm like, you know what? Your choice to just make pure roaches, it's so intelligent. Like, a lot of people thought in Heart of the Swarm, oh, I'll play with different units, but Famut's so effing smart and so beautiful and considerate that he was like, no, I'm going to let other people make other units, and I'm just going to make roaches. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I mean, Simba like has the kindness in his heart. I mean, look at this. Instead of picking up the orbital right away and like leaving with his SCVs, he let them die. He let them die because he wants this game to be closer. He's got a 120 versus 190 supply lead for Terran. And I don't know. I mean, Famut is like, if you look at the production tab, he's now making Hydras, so he's saying, okay, Control, it was just roaches for a while there, but now I'm going to switch back to Hydras. And I'm like, that's the excitement of our relationship. You know what I mean? Like, he keeps it fresh and exciting at all times.
Okay,
and that's why I let him do anal.
Okay, stop.
Right.
Nice to finish on there. You must plug yourself and everything you do at every possible opportunity.
Holy crap. Roaches and Hydras coming here to clean up the Hellions, of course, brought to you by myself, commentated beautifully with a crisp, clean voice, trained and practiced in the Evil Geniuses lair in Arizona. You can find more about me at evilgeniuses.net/myeg.net/EGiNcontroL. Of course, we have a big battle in here. Tank's going to take shots at the Roach. Roach is on move command. And of course, if you're on move command, you can move yourself right on over to my Twitter page. It's EGiNcontroL. Follow me there. But right now, we're going to see a lot of shots going down. The Roaches are evacuating, much like you would evacuate if you too hadn't purchased an Intel motherboard, which of course is the finest in the business. And the only reason they're the finest is because they support me in all my endeavors. Some drones are going to get transferred to this left side. Very smart. You want more money like the raise I got. And reference on, I believe it was State of the Game. We're going to go ahead and have a battle out here. State of the Game is a show that I was on, but was too good for, so I left. You can check out more of that when I guest appear, but of course, otherwise, you don't want to check it out too much. You can check out Inside the Game for all that kind of content. Terran player moving back and forth in the middle of the map has control of the tower, sees a lot. Not as much as I see, though, of course, because I position myself in the community in a place where I can actually talk to everybody about everything. I know most of the secrets, more than Slasher even. And we have some burrow tactics actually out for these roaches. Late game burrow switch, very interesting. Of course, not as interesting as my Facebook fan page. You can follow me at facebookfanpage.EGiNcontroL. I'm there as well. Actually, it's just in control. You can minus the EG there, but speaking of minus the EG, if it weren't for me, I think EG wouldn't be much of anything at all, and in which case we could just minus them out of the scene. We're going to have some tanks actually spotted by a burrowed roach. Burrowed roach doesn't have a whole lot to offer, but if it picks up, it could get some friendly fire. Friendly fire like you would have, again, if it weren't for my unit.
Okay, stop. In the style of a Pokemon battle.
Oh. Simba has selected siege tanks, and it's extremely effective. He's going to move forward here. And he's, you know what, admittedly, I played like 5 games of Pokemon about 20 years ago. And all I'm operating off of right now is stereotypes. So I could either say the units of the names like, roaches, 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 which is what I think Pokemon say. Or I could sing the song, I guess. And siege tanks cast siege mode, and it's extremely effective. Of course, that's been said for about, 15 years of StarCraft. Simba has balanced his economy, and he's been dropping mules. That's been extremely effective. We're down to just kind of 1.5 mining bases for the Zerg player here, and that is not effective. I'm just going to keep saying that. We should probably do a different one.
Okay, that is fine. Alright, every sentence you say must be a question.
Okay. We might have a battle here? The siege tanks are possibly doing lots of damage, I think. Not sure about that. And now we do have these, I think we have these ravens cleaning up the tumors with the units. And it looks like the Zerg player might want to fight here. I don't know. Is he going to fight here? It looks like he's fighting here. And the Terran player might be sieging it. I think he's sieging. And the Zerg player's going to back away, I think. Looks like there are some Vipers, maybe. And the Vipers... I don't know. Are the Vipers doing their spell? I can't tell, maybe. And now we have some tanks maybe approaching over this left side, I think.
Okay, stop. In the style of your favorite cartoon character.
Ooh, who's my favorite cartoon character? Who is my favorite cartoon character? I'm not even being picky about this. I actually didn't watch too many cartoons, so I'm trying to think of who a Well, okay, I like Batman growing up. So it looks like the Terran player stepped out of his place, and he's getting some crime fought on him because those siege tanks They sucked a lot of ass. They didn't do what he wanted. And now the third player's going to shift over here and kill this really important base. Terran player's kind of running out of economy. It's been down to 100 supply this whole time. But he's still fighting on as bravely as he possibly can. It just looks like it's not enough. And this should be the final battle.
Okay, stop. Between now and the end of this battle, you must progress through every accent you have.
Oi! It appears the Terran player has lost his tanks!
Oh, all the tanks are gone! If he lose more tank, he lose. Okay.
Well done.
It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Casting and doing all the voices is really difficult.
That's exactly what everyone who seems to come on says.
Yeah.
So, on a scale of 1 to, oh god, never again, how would you rate your experience?
No, I loved it. And in fact, having now done this, I kind of want to, just the competitive side of me is like, you could have done better. So, if you ever have repeat guests, feel free to ask me, because I would love to take another crack at this.
Alright, I will be sure to let you know on that. Before we sign off, is there anyone you would love to give a shout out to?
Well, if I offended anybody, I promise it was just some good fun, and I apologize. I want to thank you for having me on. Like I said, I've talked about this for a long time, but I really like when people look at this community and say, I can contribute, and then instead of just saying that, they do something about it, and I think that's exactly what you're doing. So a huge shout-out / prop to you, and thank you. And then just, of course, anybody that's relative or familiar with me, thank you for supporting me on Twitter, Facebook, and all that good stuff. You heard all the plugs in the show. They were satire, but you can just go ahead and pretend they're real at this point in time, so thank you.
Alright, very well done again. And would you like to sign us out in the voice of Deckard Cain?
This has been Caster Attack, and you have done a great job of tuning in. But if you do a better job, you'll watch it next time. Thank you again, and goodbye.